Monday, June 16th, 2025, meeting of the 40th Council of the City of Berkeley. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Baker.
Here.
Councilmember Black. Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Councilmember Hennon.
Here.
Councilmember Patterson.
Here.
Councilmember Villani.
Here.
Mayor Dean.
Here. Our first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Support?
Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Villani. Are there any changes or corrections? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Black. Hennon.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Villani.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the agenda has been approved. So this evening, I am going to utilize the mayor-led moment of reflection. And I just would like to say that the current political climate gives new meaning to political violence. Please join me in a moment of silence for Minnesota lawmakers, former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, who were brutally murdered this weekend, and State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were wounded by the same gunman. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've come to our first public comment section of tonight's meeting, and this is the time where you may present your thoughts on items that are not on tonight's agenda. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence. And if your concern needs a follow-up by a member of council, a department director, or city staff, you may leave your contact information on the paper that's on the table right outside this door. You have 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind and in your heart.
Hi, I'm Don Callahan. I'm a member of the Berkeley Historical Committee. I grew up in Berkeley, but I live in Royal Oak. I made that decision many years ago, so don't hold it against me. I wanted to come before council tonight to just allow them to know about a program that we're starting at the Historical Museum called the Friends of the Berkeley Historical Museum. Our mission at the museum is to preserve and promote the history of the city of Berkeley and to engage the public through administration and management. And this is intended to engage the public. We want to get more interest in the museum and have more volunteers that are able to do things like go through our collection and organize it. So we thought this would be a good way to do it. And so if people out there are interested, they can actually send an email to our email address, which is museum@berkeleymi.gov. Other ways to do that, we will be at the Pride event. We'll have a tent there. They can also stop by the museum. Our newsletters, which are at the library, the Public Works building, and the City Hall, have an email address in. So rather than any kind of a complicated application, we want to just interview those people and have them join in a more simplified manner. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Ms. Mitchell, please read, the items on tonight's consent agenda.
1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the 40th regular city council meeting on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. 2, warrant list. Matter of approving warrant list number 1411. 3, motion number M4525, matter of appointing members to boards and commissions. 4, motion number M4625, matter of appointing Deputy City Manager for Public Services Sean Young as the City of Berkeley's representative and Superintendent of Public Works Adam Wozniak as the alternate representative to the Southeastern Oakland County Resource Recovery Authority, SACRA, Board of Trustees for the fiscal year ending on June 30th, 2026, and instruct the city clerk to send a copy of this motion to the SACRA board. 5, motion number M4725, matter of appointing Deputy City Manager for Public Services Sean Young as the City of Berkeley's representative and Superintendent of Public Works Adam Wozniak as the alternate representative to the Southeastern Oakland County Water Authority, SACWA, Board of Trustees for the fiscal year ending on June 30th, 2026, and instruct the city clerk to send a copy of this motion to the SACWA board. 6, motion number M4825, matter of approving the utilization of a WRC contract with additional City of Berkeley specifications for water service line material verification work related to the TMF grant. 7, proclamation number P2225, matter proclaiming July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Berkeley.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan with support from Councilmember Baker. Are there any corrections or additions? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black, Dean.
Yes, the consent agenda has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 1 on tonight's regular agenda.
Recognitions, presentations, matter of receiving any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
I've asked Councilmember Patterson to read P2225.
Thank you. A proclamation of the Council of the City of Berkeley, Michigan, proclaiming July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas, parks and recreation programs are the integral part of communities throughout the country, including the City of Berkeley. And whereas, our parks and recreations are important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our community, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas, parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for individuals with mental and physical disabilities, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas, parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism and attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas, parks and recreation area are fundamental to the environmental well-being of the community, assisting in preserving green space, providing vegetative buffers from development, producing a habitat for wildlife, and mitigating stormwater runoff. And whereas, the City of Berkeley recognizes the outstanding benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Berkeley hereby proclaims, Section 1, that the month of July 2025 is hereby proclaimed as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Berkeley, and City Council encourages all citizens to celebrate healthy, active lifestyles by enjoying their choice of the fantastic park locations here in the City of Berkeley. Section 2, that the City Council extends gratitude and recognizes the City of Berkeley Parks and Recreation Department for their outstanding work in providing the community with recreation opportunities throughout the year, and their continued success in maintaining and adding to the city's beautiful park locations. Proclaimed the 16th day of June 2025 at a regular meeting of the Berkeley City Council. Signed, Mayor Dean.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, will you please read item number 2 on tonight's regular agenda?
Motion number M4925, matter of authorizing the amendment of the 2024-25 budget as presented.
Is there a motion to approve M4925?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan
Support.
with support from Councilmember Baker. Ms. Van Vleck.
I'm going to welcome our Finance Director, Carl Johnson, for this. This is our fourth quarter amendment.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, hello, good
Hello.
evening. Guess what? 2 weeks left in our fiscal year, holy smokes. So, as usual, what we do is wait till the very last meeting to bring final adjustments to you for your approval. If you recall, the budget is an estimate passed almost 12 months ago now, and what we're required to do is amend it as needed. And so we've passed 3 quarterly amendments already, and this would be the final one. The amendment before you increases our revenues in our general fund by about $90,000, $89,000, and expenses of the exact same amount. So that leaves us a net balanced budget of exactly where we were at the end of last quarter. The key with this amendment really is just to move stuff around. If you look, there's probably a dozen or more items listed there, but the key there is some departments are under budget, some departments are over budget. The appropriations that we have, again, are sufficient to the extent we had additional revenues. Most of it was the marijuana related revenue, and then the expenses are really just moving stuff between departments there. The only other large one that you may think that's a little weird is the community development block grant adjustment. We get about $35,000 a year, and the amendment is for about $125,000. What we did is we got together during the fiscal year and tried to get caught up on all our open years. We're supposed to spend it within 3 years, and we had 3 or 4 years outstanding in grant funds. So you've already approved the project. It's about a $100,000 sidewalk project around the park, I believe it is. Already started, I believe, right? Yeah, it's already started. So we're trying to expend those funds as quickly as possible, but that's why, hey, where'd all this money come from? It's really just a culmination of stuff that was unspent. Outside of that, the only other things on there are, you'll see COM 1. We amended COM 1 there. It's important to remember COM 1 and the Water and Sewer Fund and even the Sidewalk Fund do not require budgets. The state of Michigan, the Budget Act says only the general fund and special revenue funds require budgets. So we like to pass budgets for those just as a tool for us to continue to monitor where we're at. And if you look at the COM 1 one, we get about $70,000 in fees that we charge the association and the district. Of that, we are using it to repay the loan from the general fund, principal and interest, as well as use those funds to specifically maintain that field. And so you see before you use about $35,000 in revenue. Again, that's this fiscal year. They pay it over 2 fiscal years, which even complicates the matter even more. But $35,000 there, repayment of the debt of about $20,000, and the rest is for the maintenance of the field through June 30. And then there'll be another $70,000 in future years for the next 5 years per that contract. Water and Sewer had a minor adjustment for some grants that we received, and the sidewalk fund had about $5,000 in it of contingencies because, as you know, we haven't done a sidewalk program in a couple years, so I just wiped out the rest of those. So, just again, this amendment is primarily housekeeping. We can't even spend as much as anything if we wanted to in the next couple of weeks. There's just not time to do it. So, it's primarily a housekeeping amendment before you. So, with that, I'd entertain any questions and/or motion. Thank you.
I just have a comment. I am glad to see that CDBG grant money has been accumulated so that we can put it toward a project that's a little more involved and maybe a little more costly. So I appreciate the, thinking about that and the execution of it now, I guess. So I appreciate that very much. Are there any other grants or funds like that we can accumulate to put toward a project at a later date, or is this kind of unique in that way?
Yeah, this one was unique. To your point, it's very difficult to spend only $35,000 on a significant project. So
Sure.
I don't know if it's by design or by accident, but one way or another, we didn't spend the money and we were able to lump it together. And again, it's allowable. You just have to spend it within the 3 years. Unfortunately, that's the only one we have like that.
Okay,
So, yeah.
thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M4925.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
There he
Dean.
is. Yes. M4925 has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 3 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number M5025, matter of approving the assessing services proposal from WCA Assessing.
Is there a motion to approve M 5025?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Valani.
Support.
With support from Councilmember Patterson. Ms. Van Vleck.
You shouldn't have even sat down. I'm going to call Carl Johnson
Yeah.
back up.
Okay.
Just as a prelude, I think most people, at least all of you, are aware. For the last 3 years, we have been with Oakland County for our assessing service. Or I'm sorry, not the last 3 years. For many years, we have been with Oakland County for our assessing services. Our contract was up. They significantly increased their fees just a few months ago. Us, along with 32 other communities in Oakland County, have been scrambling to find a replacement whose costs are not as absorbent as what the county is suggesting. And so Carl and his team acted very quickly to put a request for proposals out, and Carl's going to explain the responses that we got in our recommendation tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Hello again. So the city manager, I think, touched on it, but it's significant. They notified us 3 months before the end of our fiscal year, the end of the contract, and said, by the way, your fees are going up 95%. $120,000 increase, almost doubling what we're paying right now. So obviously that is unacceptable. There are other companies out there. So the challenge was 32 communities said that's unacceptable. We need to find somebody else. There aren't that many companies out there. So we sent out the RFP and we only got one response. And I think we were fortunate to get that response. I had to do a little, arm twisting and pulling and threats and that kind of fun stuff. But we were able to get a proposal from them primarily because they were doing a neighboring community, which was helpful. So for them, because the assessor goes out and reviews the properties within the communities or whatever, and so to have 2 neighboring communities was very favorable for them. It's an assessing company that started out, it's a Wayne County-based company that was started in 1982 and has just really grown by word of mouth. So it's a very well-known company, well-respected in the communities, and more than 20 of those 32 communities contacted them and said, hey, please come be our assessor. Many of them without even going out for proposal. It was just give me a number, and please come be our assessor. So like I said, we were fortunate. They are going to come out. We met with them. Their price is about 13% higher than what we anticipate for this year versus the 95% increase that we were faced. They are going to operate just like the county did, which is remotely, but they are available at any time for our residents. They will have a city email so that there'll be no confusion for our residents. It'll be assessor at the city of Berkley is what their email address will be, and we will publicize that and everything else. So they will be on site as much as needed. And again, it's what the key thing that we like that they bring is that they bring the commercial side. So it's a non-governmental entity that is motivated to come back to you at the end of their 3-year contract and say, hey, we found taxable value for you. We identified this. We were successful in increasing your taxable value, i.e. our property tax revenues for stuff that was out there that might have been missed, or the new stuff, and make sure the new stuff is valued properly, et cetera. And also defending any assessments any challenges that might come up as well. So like I say, I feel very fortunate that we were one of the few that they ultimately went with, and the price is reasonable, and I think they will do a fine job for us.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Valani.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First off, thank you for your swift action on this to save this city, almost $100,000 in the first year with that unexpected increase. So I think that was really just well done on the team's part to move quickly, knowing that others would be in those shoes. I'm also very encouraged that we found someone with a great reputation, and it sounds like it's going to do a good job with this. For anyone listening at home, just to be crystal clear with them, given that there was only one response to the RFP, can you share a little bit about how we do cast a wide net, the different resources that we use and what we were up against, so people understand that we were in just what a competitive situation we were in to be able to even get this response?
Absolutely. So when we met with the county, we said, hey, this is an unreasonable 3 months for us. You know, can we, will you give us, 1 year at the existing cost or whatever? And the answer was basically no. They said, we'll allow you to smooth over the cost, but once you sign with us, you're stuck. If you back out at any time during that 3 years, you're paying the highest rate that there is. They'll allow you to smooth it in, but bottom line is that they wouldn't give us a discount. So then we sent out the RFP, and halfway through it, we weren't getting much response. Again, it was publicized to anywhere and everywhere we could. And then we started making calls. There's a half dozen well-known companies out there saying, hey, we've got this RFP, just in case you missed it, will you please bid? And again, they were all being inundated by the same 32 communities that we have. So in a perfect world, I think one response, you say, hey, we probably want more, but given the timing, given the quality response that we got, and given the lack of other entities out there, given the huge need of 30 plus communities, like I say, that's where we said we are fortunate that we were able to get them in. Because originally when I talked to them, when it first went out, they were like, I don't think we have the horsepower to do it, because they don't pre-hire, they only have staff to service their clients with 1 or 2 in training per se. So they had enough to service us, and that was about it. So it was which one were they going to pick, and that's where I had to twist some arms.
Well, thank you for that.
Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. I echo my colleagues' compliments and respect for the process that you followed and the efforts to get this proposal before us here today. For those who aren't exactly familiar with what an assessor actually does, could you give us like the 2-sentence version, just for folks at home that may have not known about this entity or how it interacts with the city, what its implications are, that kind of stuff?
Certainly.
Thank you.
You know me in the 2-second version. That's a little hard to do.
Okay,
but,
that's enough.
I will do my best. So, again, our assessor is the one who sets the value on all of our property here, real, personal, all of the value. So whether it's houses, businesses, personal property, et cetera, our assessor is the one that puts the value on it based on the tables set by the state of Michigan. So there's certain formulas, there's certain things, a 2-story house gets valued this way, a 1-story, an industrial building, a commercial building, et cetera. So their ultimate responsibility is to put a value. So when we talk about the assessed value, that's the value times our millage rates, that generates our revenue. So their job is to ensure that every single household, every single business here is valued properly. So it's supposed to be at SCV, taxable value is half of what the property is supposed to be. And so their job is to go out and make sure that that in fact is the case. So they do sales studies during the year to see what properties they're selling at, to adjust it up or down. Any new development that comes in, they actually go out and measure it and get the blueprints from the building department and measure all that up and add that to the tax rolls. To the extent there's demolitions or disposals of assets, they go out there as well and verify that things have been removed and those kind of things. So that's what their ultimate responsibility is. Tax day is December 31st annually. So again, this is a perfect time to be in a horrible situation, to have to go out and find one immediately. However, we have between now and December 31st to get them in, get them acclimated with our city, and ensure that between now and December 31st, they pick up anything and everything they're supposed to before our next tax deadline, which is December 31st. So I hope that.
Yeah, that was. I'm sure it was perfect for the folks. Yeah, and as a follow-up, what is the onboarding timeline? Do you imagine, like, assuming this were to move forward here tonight, how quickly would they be integrated into our machinery and able to hit the ground running?
Pretty much immediately, because there's been a mandate basically that BS&A be the tax software throughout all of Wayne County and Oakland. I think most Oakland County communities use it as well. So they've been doing this a long time. They already know the software. They already know all of those kind of things. So the only thing they need to do so they can jump in and see what the assessments are, run reports, look up things for our residents, et cetera. The only thing they have to do is get up to speed with where we are as far as what's happened from January 1 to now, and then obviously going forward. So it should be a fairly quick, fairly seamless transition.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or questions from council? Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M 5025.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 4 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M5125, matter of considering PSU 0125 special land use request for 4162 12 Mile Road, 4150 12 Mile Road, and 4138 12 Mile Road for the operation of a gas station, convenience store with an accessory restaurant counter in the Gateway District on the north side of 12 Mile Road between Greenfield Road and Elwood Avenue.
Is there a motion to approve M5125?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan with support from Councilmember Valani. Ms. Van Vleck?
I'm going to defer to our Community Development Director, Kristen Kaplansky.
Ms. Kapelansky, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Good evening, everyone. I will quickly hit the highlights of this. The most important thing to remember about this application is that you guys are considering the special land use request. The site plan has already been approved by council, subject to a number of conditions. But I will get into the details, excuse me, of the special land use request right now. This is part of a proposal to redevelop a site for a gas station and convenience store. It's just shy of 7,000 square feet. It would also include an associated restaurant use on the north side of 12 Mile between Greenfield and Elwood. The zoning of the property is Gateway District. This was reviewed under the old zoning ordinance. They just made the cutoff. So we're still operating under that. And in that particular zoning ordinance, retail and restaurant uses were permitted as principal permitted uses, but gas stations are the special land use in that particular district under the old ordinance. As I mentioned, the Planning Commission did consider the site plan. They approved it subject to a number of conditions. They also held the required public hearing for the special land use request at that time. It was a very positive meeting. We had a whole room full of people, and almost everyone was there in support of it. So that was different than we usually see. As part of that, they also had some conditions where the applicant will have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a couple variances. One of those is for the location of the dumpster. That was a subject of the site plan consideration. Another is for the location of the southeastern driveway. The old ordinance did include some driveway spacing standards that this particular application does not meet. This is an existing driveway. But if you were to approve the special land use request this evening, it should be a condition of approval. In my recommendation motion, I noted that as a condition of approval, but I would say that it would be prudent for the council to also include or the applicant adjust the site plan so that if the zoning ordinance or the zoning Board of Appeals did not grant the requested variance, they would not have to be back before you this evening. They could make those accommodations to the site plan to meet the standards. So I apologize for not including that. Generally, the plan's in compliance with the zoning requirements, except for the few things that I've mentioned. There were also some transparency things associated with the site plan request. There are several standards that are listed in both the review memo from Carlisle Wortman, and they're listed in my cover memo as well. These are the standards from the former ordinance, section 138-653, and they're the standards by which you should consider whether or not the plan meets the special land use requirements. A detailed analysis of each of those is provided in the Carlisle Wortman review letter, but I'd be happy to answer any questions as well, and the applicants here as well.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council? Councilmember Valani.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I just wanted to go on the record to say, especially sitting on the Berkley Chamber, that Mr. Jamil has been just an upstanding business owner and supporter of our community. And I'm very confident that his support of the community and to our city would continue if this were to pass.
I could just add from the liaison to the Planning Commission standpoint, as Director Klampolatsky said, it was one of the most enjoyable meetings. Being a planning commissioner prior, the room was filled with nothing but positive comments. There wasn't a single negative from residents, from other business owners. It was a phenomenal meeting, so it comes highly recommended from the people who live next door as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker.
How can I not, right? So as the liaison to the Downtown Development Authority, and so on. I was curious, no, this does sound good. Do we need to make a formal amendment to include the additional language to the motion, or can we just say, because I don't, put it in the words here, or is it just, we want that included in the text of the?
Yeah, should we take care of that now?
That would be great, yes.
Okay, so the original Councilmember Hennon and Councilmember Valani, would you like to?
So my motion would be the recommended motion from the city manager's report with the addition of, that they obtain the variance from the zoning board of appeals or the applicant adjust the site plan.
Is that sufficient, Ms.
Yes.
Kaplansky? Are you good with that, Councilmember Valani?
I am, thank you.
Okay, so the motion is now amended with the approval of the original supporter of the motion and the second. So when we vote, that's what we're voting on. Good?
Sweet.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it is welcome, especially in the Gateway District. The West 12 Mile is an area of focus for the DDA to bring additional vitality and destinations to that part of our amazing downtown. So to have this concept of multi-purpose, if you will, options for folks coming into the city is very welcome. So looking forward to this positive addition to West 12.
Well, finally, there's no way I'm not chiming in on this because everybody, and I'm a chimer when it's a reasonable thing to do, but I did not attend the meeting, but I watched virtually, and I will wholeheartedly agree it was a pleasant meeting to watch. There was so much positivity in the room, and the things that people were saying, it was like you were part of their family. You've been in the community for so long. There's been generations of people who know you and your dad, and it was such a feel-good meeting. Really, it was, and I wish we had more like that. But tonight's running a close second, so I'm not going to complain. Mr. Jamil, would you like to say anything? I mean, you don't have to, but.
Hello. I just want to say thank you. And, I'm almost 40 and I've worked at my family store basically my whole working life. And looks like I'll be dedicated to another 40 years. And I look forward to it. That meeting was awesome. I was nervous, but, it was nothing but positive things. And I look forward to doing this and spending maybe the rest of my working life in Berkeley.
Excellent. We would welcome that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Councilmember Hennon.
I have a question for the applicant.
Cool.
Just with the zoning board of appeal variance, just looking at the conditions for it, I think there's a high likelihood you won't get it, and so we're approving it whether you get it or not. But the question is, do you have a backup plan if you don't get that variance?
Good evening, Eric Williams with Stonefield. So I think there is probably two different site plan layouts that we could look at. One would simply be closing the driveway, maintaining the parking spaces in a dead-end fashion. Not preferable, but understandable. Really the thought process was trying to maintain the drive on 12 Mile to hopefully minimize traffic onto Elwood, knowing that it's, as you go north there, it does turn into residential. Or we look at rearranging some of the parking and maybe losing some of that parking, but we're not quite sure yet. But either way, we do look forward to seeing the project move forward.
Okay, great, thank you.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else? Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, well, I would just like to add personally, as a former Berkeley business owner, it's a great community. You already know that. And I really, truly appreciate when businesses stay and continue to invest in our community. You're making a commitment, and it's a big one. And obviously, we're all pretty supportive of it, and it's nice to see. And it's just nice to see the growth in a way that's planned and strategic and sustainable. And we appreciate all those things. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M5125.
Valani?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Hennon?
Yes.
Patterson?
Yes.
Dink?
Yes. M5125 has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 5 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number M 5225, matter of accepting the boards and commissions handbook.
Is there a motion to approve M 5225?
So moved. Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Baker with support from Councilmember Patterson. Ms. Van Vleck.
Okay, I'm going to invite our Deputy City Clerk, Rachel Patterson, and our Assistant to the City Manager, Charlena Stevenson. They, along with Victoria, have been working really hard with our ad hoc committee to take a really thoughtful look at our boards and commissions, our current process for internally how our staff liaisons, our council liaisons, how the boards and commissions operate, and we really just want to set them up to really fulfill their roles to their highest extent. So I won't take much of their thunder, but this is phase one, as you can see. This is kind of a long process, and they'll go into that. So with that, one of the biggest things, or possibly the largest thing that came out of that, was a really wonderful handbook for all boards and commission members that really helps lay out what their role is, any questions that they might have. So they're providing a presentation tonight that gives an overview on some of the changes that have happened, some of the upgrades and updates that we're making to the process, and then also the handbook itself. So with that, I'll turn it over to them.
Hi, everybody. As our city manager said, my name is Charlena. I'm the assistant to the city manager.
My name's Rachel. I'm the deputy city clerk. You guys are used to me. So tonight we're going to be bringing some information about the changes, like City Manager Van Vleck said. We'll start with explaining why the changes were needed.
Yes, so if you guys remember, last year I brought to you guys some things that we wanted to change and some proposals. A lot of the things with our boards and commissions, a lot of our practices were outdated. We also wanted to create a standardized procedure for all of our members and everyone who wants to apply to our boards and commissions, as well as making sure that we are in compliance with the Open Meetings Act and FOIA and things like that, and also to have an open and clear, transparent process when it comes to the application, as well as celebrate and recognize our boards and commissions and their achievements. Our boards do a lot for our city, and it's something that we want to make sure we constantly are recognizing and being able to really put their work forward too. And then we also want to just keep empowering our boards as well. As you all know, we do have a lot of boards, but they do a lot of great work, and just enhancing their experience makes things worth the while for them as well.
So to keep it brief, which unfortunately the handbook is not, we kind of highlighted the key changes, and then we're going to work through them through the presentation, but I'll kind of rattle off the list now. First off is handoff of the administration from the city manager's office to the city clerk's office, an updated transparent application process and timeline for appointments, as well as a formalized attendance policy. We're also requiring a plan of work or a yearly summary from each board or commission, which we'll explain further, as well as laying out the specific duties for each board and commission role so that everybody's really clear at what their part to play is. We also updated agenda and minutes deadlines so that we can remain compliant with the statutory requirements that Charlie mentioned. And the handbook, the big part of the show. We drew on resources from other communities as well as the Michigan Municipal League to try and bring clarity to prospective and current board and commission members on how their board functions and ways that they can best contribute.
And also, just to note that with this handbook, we did look at other cities, but this is very comprehensive. I want to say, knock on wood, that we will probably one of the most comprehensive board and commission processes and very transparent. So in our handbook, we actually are explaining everything from the step of applying to the end. So that's something that we won't be able to compare to other cities exactly for some of our other processes, but we wanted to make sure that we are pioneering to make Berkeley the best place. And also, like Rachel said, we are transitioning boards and commissions from the city manager's office. So I have been managing them with the city manager for the last 2 years, and we are taking it back to the clerk's office just for a lot of different reasons. And also the same email, everyone who is on a board knows I say this every day. Please send everything to boards@berkeleymi.gov. That still is going to be something that is similar, just so there's a lot of transparency and you can ask questions to that email as well.
We've also updated the application and appointment process. We will have new terms beginning on February and July 1st, which will establish staggered terms and make it a little bit easier for the appointment process and all of the work that goes into that on our end. City Council will also interview candidates in a public meeting. The appointees will be confirmed by City Council and then receive notification from our office, giving them all the information they would need, contact information, where their meeting usually is held, how to get in touch with their chair. We will also have a swearing in and orientation for new board members, starting with that February beginning term, and that will be able to explain things further, answer any questions people may have, kind of keep it as open and, like Charlie was saying, transparent as possible. This just kind of works you through, which we are planning to include in our updates to the handbook as well as updates to the individual members, kind of make sure everything's super clear. Reappointments will be operating in much the same way, being that they're made by City Council with consideration given to several factors, including attendance, education requirements, if they need to do so, and member contributions. Each board's council liaison will make a recommendation regarding member reappointments, and unless there's a gap of 6 months in serving with their positions, they will not need to be re-sworn in.
Okay, so also we have made sure we've aligned our attendance requirements to the ordinances that we already do have. And we want to make sure our boards are as successful as they can be by having active members who are there and voting and able to speak what they want to have. So we make sure that any person who fails to attend 25% will be reviewed. This doesn't mean we will be taking people off. There's obviously things that will be happening in between that, but we want to make sure that we are giving our boards the best possible foot to be able to have quorum and be able to vote on things that they need to be able to get city business done. And if something does happen, the chair and the staff liaison will be notified if the person is unable to attend the meeting. So we're just making things a little bit more transparent and making sure that everyone is there and everyone is able to vote.
As we mentioned towards the beginning, a really big focus of our work with the ad hoc committee on this was the great work that our boards and commissions already do in the city, and how can we amplify that and get more eyeballs to what's happening in Berkeley. So in order to achieve those goals, we're going to institute a plan of work, meaning that we'll ask boards to simply submit what they're anticipating happening for the next year, events they plan on attending, regular things that they know are already coming up, as well as things that they plan to do. And then at the end of each calendar year, we'll have each board submit kind of bullet points of the highlights of the year so that we can share those with other boards and the community at large.
And so this one was very important because we wanted to make sure everyone knew what was happening within the boards, as well as the boards are able to plan things early, and then we could be able to make sure everything is done as possible. So if they need any resources from us, we're able to provide them in a timely and professional manner, as well as make sure we are meeting certain benchmarks that we also do have.
So one change that was clearly needed, or clearly identified by our board members as needed, was a little bit more clarity regarding specific roles, how they function, how they interact. So in the handbook, we tried to really carve it out for each specific role, get really detailed on what they can do, what they can't do, how they all complement and work together. So we'll just kind of run through a couple slides just to show the difference between each role. But of course, there's more in the handbook. So the chairperson prepares meeting agendas, they run the board and commission meetings, they make sure that everyone is heard and understood at the meeting, that all viewpoints are shared. They also record votes, summarize discussion, and clarify exactly what decisions are made.
And for the staff liaison, this is something after we've gotten our surveys from our board members was something we wanted to make sure we beefed up as a person who's already a part of our organization. So they will be attending all meetings and be able to submit any meetings and agendas to the clerk's office, making sure that we are in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And they are really the liaison between the city administration and the board. So anything that the board needs, they can be able to go to that city staff liaison and be able to actually have that done. If they have anything they want to have posted, they could be able to talk to our communications department and actually have someone who's here every day. So if there's anything that we need from them, we could be able to talk to our staff liaison, which is our fellow peers, and be able to get things done as efficiently as possible. And so the role of the city council liaison, as you all know, all of our boards are advisory to you all. And so everyone is appointed by the mayor. Of course, and facilitates different advisory capacities of the board and making sure that they are there for the board and attending all respective board and commission meetings, as well as review incoming applications. So it's just more inclusive of actually being in the board and helping them, as well as being that person. You guys all pass the policy and everything, so they're able to talk to you guys about their recommendations too.
Our role in the city clerk's office will be to kind of manage the administration and paperwork end of things, as well as making sure that all appointees are aware of information they need to know. So we're kind of the point of contact for boards and commissions, right from application through resignation. And then, of course, the fun stuff that I get to talk about is compliance with the statutes that we have to maintain. So we did tighten up our timelines for turning in materials ahead of the meetings to make sure that we can comply with all relevant statutes. And also, this is a place where our staff liaisons will be coming in. They can kind of be the middleman to make sure that those deadlines are maintained and met.
And for our handbook, as we keep saying, this handbook is 72 pages or more, and it is comprehensive. But also with this handbook, it is a living, breathing document. So there is obviously going to be changes and adaptions based on whether this works or whether some things work, some things don't. So our book will change, but this book will be, you will be able to access this from the website, as well as when you become a board member, you are receiving this book. So this is something that even if you're having a meeting and it's 7 o'clock at night, and of course city staff is not here, your staff liaison will be there, but if there's questions about how things should work, how Robert's rules have, any attendance issues, anything like that, you could be able to ask. There is a long list of things that we put in here because it was definitely something we've been going back and forth with for the last couple of months. But the handbook is basically a comprehensive thing of what is happening in the meetings. If boards have questions about other boards, they have that as a resource to be able to find different information that they'll be able to need.
And as we kind of explained, this is phase 1, so to kind of give a preview of phase 2, what we haven't already worked on that we're going to be working on in the future. Several areas of improvement were highlighted while we were doing this process. Like Charlie was saying, we brought a lot of things into compliance with our own ordinances and found a lot of places where we do need a little bit of ordinance cleanup. We will be putting forth an amendment to the council rules and order of procedure, as well as further process refinement. The handbook will be distributed to all current and new members once it is approved by you, as well as detailed briefer emails sent out to board officers so that I can really explain what their role and responsibility is. They feel like they understand the requirements, and of course keep that line of communication open so that when questions do arise, they know who to talk to.
And also I want to take this moment to thank the ad hoc committee, thank our volunteers, as well as thank our staff in multiple departments, the clerk's office as well as ours, for working together to make sure that this policy actually did happen. We were able to dig different perspectives, be able to survey people, be able to really go at it multiple times to be able to make sure that this is something that our volunteers really wanted and it's something they deserve. So I did want to just make sure I give everyone their flowers and that I appreciate everyone and their hard work on this too. Any questions?
Any comments or questions from council? Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, having the good fortune to be on that subcommittee, I wanted to thank you folks for all the work that you've done. It's been a tremendous effort, not only in moving the ball down the field and keeping track of everything, but also preparing an exceptional document and some incredible materials. Very well researched, very well thought through. Being part of those deliberations, you certainly had opportunities and did think about what ifs and could be's and try to anticipate at least the top 10 common kinds of things, whether it's questions or things that could go wrong. It's just terrific work. I am excited to see how this grows over time, like you say. You get the perfect plan, then you press the play button and you see what happens after it starts, right? And so I welcome that spirit of learning and growth to make this even better than it is today. So here's to the future with our committees. Thank you to all the volunteers that are going to be on the receiving end of this, who get to put it into practice. And I look forward to continuing conversations on this. Again, congratulations.
Councilmember Hennon.
Yeah, as this one's very close to me as someone who for a number of years tried to, bring improvements to these processes and never got to where I wanted it to be. And then handing it over and seeing the committee and the staff members be able to produce this really great document, this really great process. I'm really pleased with where we're at. And just a lot of gratitude, a lot of thanks for where we're at, and thankful also to our boards and commissions and the volunteers that make all of this possible for us. So thank you.
Councilmember Patterson.
Also serving on the committee, it's amazing the amount of work that we set for you, that you guys did for us and for our community in such a short amount of time. Pro Tem Gavin was also on that committee. He's not here tonight, but I know he extends his appreciation for the city staff. And just to give everyone at home an idea of what went into this, we had volunteers who met, we had chairs met, a survey was sent out. It was very well done, and our document shows that. And as you said, it is a living, breathing document. If changes need to be made, it's not set in stone. You know, it's a long document, but having served in other capacity before council, I was appointed, and then I was like, now what do I do, right? And I didn't know, there was no process to follow.
Right.
I was like, I think I'm on because I watched the meeting, and my name was called. Here I go. I guess I show up next week, but there is a process to it, and so thank you both, and city manager as well. You were involved, so thank you everyone and our community and volunteers for sure.
I just echo what all my colleagues say, especially as someone who started their service to the city on a board, and to what Councilmember Patterson said about how it was a bit of a head scratcher at the time many years ago, so thank you.
Yeah, I've been there. Jeff reeled me in.
I just want to say the biggest thing about this that I love is the clarity that everyone has now, and everybody knows the purpose. Are we all moving together? You know, everybody's got their, subject matter, and each board is different in what they do and in what their priorities are, but at the end of the day, it's all about Berkley. It all begins and ends with Berkley, and so I think that the more clear you can make the roles, responsibilities, and how things work, the better it will be. I remember, Dennis, you probably remember this too, back when Tori and Dan Hill visited different boards and commissions, and they were, gathering information, and we were doing these tabletop exercises. And so from then to what I see now today, it's just incredible, all the work that you guys did. And not to be disparaging to them. They started this and, got the ball rolling. I'm not sure then what happened, but I'm glad that it was picked up again, because it is, I always have said, if you're gonna have volunteers, you need to give them something to do, and it needs to be meaningful to whatever the organization or group is. And I think that you've definitely accomplished that with this handbook, and it truly is a group effort, and everybody can be proud of it and their input in it. And I love the fact too that it is a living document, because that means it could be changed. This was the best effort, and when you actually start seeing it in real life, you may find that you want to change things. So it's the best way to put it forward. Councilmember Hennon.
Yeah, and I just want to take this one step further back, beyond just processes for the boards and commissions. With our new city manager, Ms. Van Vleck, I know we're looking at all of our procedures across the board, and while we're a pretty well-run city, there's always room for improvement, and so this is very exciting to see just the first one to come out, and just how much better and more efficient I see we're going to be as we continue to improve and examine where we're at.
I agree with that, and I think that this council truly is a process-oriented council, and we kind of started that with Nate. I mean, not that it wasn't started before, but he really then moved the needle on that, and now, Crystal's even, under her direction, it's even happening more. So it's a really good feeling, and you're accomplishing really solid, great things that are truly contributing to our community, so thank you.
Mayor, do you mind if I add? real
No,
quick?
go right ahead.
Just to put an emphasis, on all the hard work that Charlena and Rachel and Victoria also over here have done on this, and just the thoughtful approach that them and the ad hoc members took to this. And just want to emphasize also, if there's any of the board or commission members at home wondering what's next or what does this mean for them, they're also looking at an orientation that will really help to explain all of this. So we're not just going to hand them all the handbook and they're make them read 72 pages. They are working on an orientation, which will give the opportunity for all members, new and anyone incoming that will be part of the process, but anyone who's still there or who's still here currently, an opportunity to learn what these changes are in a more robust way than just watching this
Sure.
meeting.
Sure.
So they've worked really hard on all of that, so thank you guys.
Victoria, can you see if Councilmember Black is wanting to chime in? I lost his face, so
He's back.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm here. I'm here. And
Okay.
there's not much that I can echo that hasn't been said other than our boards and commissions are obviously an outstanding place to get your feet wet with regard to volunteering in our city and eventually moving on to other esteemed positions. I believe every single one of us as council members, started on a board or had the opportunity to serve on one. So there's just they're a very vital piece to not just our excellence as a city, but also to our future, right? Because a lot of our future leaders come from our boards and commissions. So outstanding job to everyone. I love processes. I always say it. Right people, right processes. You can do amazing things. So just great job, and looking forward to seeing this executed.
Thank you. Any public comment on this agenda item? Oh, sorry,
No, I'm
Councilmember
not.
Patterson.
I forgot, for city clerk as well, I thank you. I looked over and I saw the name tag for her, and I totally forgot, so I apologize. That was it.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no public comment, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M 5225.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Villani,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. And here we are finding ourselves at communications. Ms. Mitchell, who will go first?
Councilmember Black.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I come to you tonight, unfortunately, from Fort Bliss, Texas, for my team doing our mode training for our upcoming deployment. I did not get a chance to debrief the last meeting for the Committee on Engagement and Transparency, so we will have to brief that by exception through Director Flora and notes. Other than that, I just want to thank everyone that reached out to me to wish my team and I a successful deployment. I look forward to the opportunity to be a part of our sessions virtually as I can, and I want to thank Ms. Mitchell and Stan and City Manager and everyone that's doing everything they can to make this available to me. Trust me when I tell you, it means a lot. I know that Murphy's Law is always that technology will have a say. So, but when it does, I appreciate the things that are being done in front and behind the scenes to get me a fix. So, session number 1, I would say, is a success. We got through it. We had some hiccups, but we got through it. So, huge thank you to everyone, and hopefully it'll get better in the future, and I can keep doing this. That's all I have, man.
Thank you. Councilmember Hennon.
Yes, the tree board will meet next Monday, June 23rd, and after, excuse me, and after the drought of no meetings, the Zoning Board of Appeals now has 4 cases to hear. 2 of them are the special land uses that we had before us tonight, but they will be meeting Monday, July 14th at 7 p.m. And I had the opportunity to attend the SEMCOG General Assembly last week. A lot of good information. It was at the Detroit Zoo, and so that was fun to see the new projects that they have going on. And forgot to bring it tonight, but I have some just a pamphlet on their latest accomplishments and projects that they've been working on that I think would be just useful for everyone to see. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker.
Well, that's me. Thank you. Let's see. Happy Monday again, everybody. The Historical Committee met last week's Tuesday, the 10th, and they meet on the second Tuesdays of every month. I'd like to thank the volunteers that make that committee great, and for those who were able to attend and represent at the Art Bash. And if you didn't get a chance to see them there, they will be back at the Pride event on the 22nd. So please check them out. As mentioned earlier during citizen comments, they're ramping up a Friends of the Berkley Historical Museum, which I think is a great way to extend opportunities to participate and engage with our city's history and help chart our future. They're rolling out some new sales items. I think those were well received at the last Art Bash, and hopefully there'll still be some stock left for the Pride event. And looking ahead a little bit, there's work underway now for a cemetery tour this fall. They're targeting Saturday, October 18th at Roseland Park. The last time we did this, we had volunteers dressed up in character for the various persons by which grave they stood by, and they had stories to tell about them and their role in Berkley and the region and all of that. So it should be really fun. More news to come as we get closer on that. And of course, you can learn about that and all sorts of other cool stuff at berkleyhistory.com. The DDA met the very next day, or Downtown Development Authority, June 11th, and they meet on the second Wednesdays. Thank you to those volunteers, and especially to Donna Dirksey, owner at the Neighbor Shop. She's been on the board for a long time. This meeting was her last. She's refocusing her priorities and adjusting to work on her business even that much more. And she's brought a strong, stable voice to the DDA and helped us through lots of cool things, and we're very grateful for Donna's service. The maintenance work is complete on the theater marquee, and they're considering options as far as when and how to light it up, what kind of a ceremony, that kind of fun stuff. So more news there. As you've probably heard, the farmers market remains paused for now. They're working through details about liability insurance and emergency management plans and contracts and all that kind of stuff to make it make all the tie up all the loose ends. So that's exciting. I'm sure there'll be news about the Dorothea Pocket Park work coming up here, so let me just foreshadow by saying the kickoff event is on Saturday, July 21st. June, did I say July? Okay. I did. Boy, see, I'm thinking that much ahead. No, June 21st, the day before Pride. It's going to be awesome. There's a whole webpage on that, so you could visit that at berkleymi.gov/Dorothea to see what's going on. An incredible schedule of events throughout June and into July. And there's always room for more. If you have an idea of something you'd like to do, something fun, you want to just set up like a euchre night or do something cool there, or if you have a band and you want to come play, go to berkleymi.gov/Dorothea and get in touch with us there. And also downtownberkley.com. And finally, Oscar Handlin once wrote, "Once I thought to write a history of the immigrants in America. Then I discovered that the immigrants were American history." You may know, I hope you do, that this month is National Immigrant Heritage Month. We honor the strength, resilience, and dreams of immigrants who continue to shape our communities and enrich our cultures. In times of uncertainty and challenge, their stories remind us of the power of hope, perseverance, and belonging. Let us stand in solidarity, uplifting immigrant voices, recognizing their contributions, and advocating for a future rooted in dignity, compassion, and justice. Every journey matters. Every voice belongs. Together, let's build a world where all feel safe, valued, and truly at home. And with that, I'll just say, please hug somebody you love, because in these days of authoritarian dictator wannabes, a hug could really help somebody feel just a little bit of safe and have a little bit of comfort. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Villani.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. From the Environmental Advisory Committee, the next meeting is this Thursday, the 19th at 6:30 p.m. on the second floor of the Public Safety Building. And would like to extend a big thank you to all the volunteers of that group who helped work the bike corral at this past weekend's Art Bash, providing that safe space to keep your bikes and supporting our walkable community. From the Berkley Area Chamber, you can get your free copies of the Berkley Has Heart book right now and also vote in the annual photography contest. So congrats to all the finalists. Hopefully you got a chance to check them out at the fair. Lots of great photos in there showcasing our city. And the Berkley Chamber is also still seeking volunteers. Your entire family can get involved at all of our events, so head to the website to learn more information about that. And lastly, really looking forward to this Sunday's Pride Festival here in Berkley. And please come say hello. I'll be working the afternoon session of the merch booth.
Thank you. Councilmember Patterson.
Thank you. I just want, Planning Commission hasn't met since last time, so no report for that. I do want to thank the volunteers who, from the Beautification Advisory Committee, that helped clean up City Hall, Public Safety Building, as well as the Friends Park. It looks great. They spread it out over a couple days and really had a lot of volunteers out to help. So small but mighty, they're volunteers. And also I want to thank Mayor Dean and I were invited to talk last week at the Michigan Dental Association for Pizzas and Politics with the pediatric dentistry residents of Children's Hospital Michigan about talking about advocacy and how to get involved. I'm wishing them all well. It was a splendid night. There was other elected officials there. State Rep Price was there, as well as some of the county commissioners. It was phenomenal. They were engaged. They're young. They're smart. Some of them live in Berkley. Some live in Royal Oak. We're trying to move to Berkeley. Well, we were. I don't know if they were, but hopefully we see them around. It was a great event, and I thank you, Lynn, for putting that together for us.
Thank you. Ms. Van Vleck?
Good evening. As Councilmember Baker stated, the Dorothea Pilot Pocket Park is kicking off. You may have already seen it. DPW was hard at work this weekend doing the things that they needed to do to close it down safely. So we're using some very large cement planters. And you've seen a couple of other things if you've passed by there, including a shade sail and some cafe like bistro lighting. So they were out there this weekend doing that. We will be finalizing over the next over tomorrow, and actually our summer campers are going to put the finishing touches on it with paint on Wednesday, the 18th. And so we will have a soft opening on the 19th. There's going to be a yoga class out there at 3:45. You can sign up for that, where you would sign up for our normal Parks and Recreation where you would register for classes normally. It's free, but we would like you to sign up just so we can keep control of the numbers. And then we are going to have a kickoff event from 1 to 4 on June 21st. And then the website that Councilmember Baker referenced, berkleymi.gov/Dorothea. We're keeping a running list of the events and the dates. It's robust, and it continues to build as we finalize some of the things, like euchre, actually. We're finalizing that right now.
Yes.
There will be a couple nights of euchre. So please keep an eye on that. Also, our Facebook page, we're trying to share it far and wide, the different events that are taking place. The final party will be a summer block club party hosted by the DDA on July 19th. So it'll be open for about 1 month. So if you have any ideas or you want to participate and you're not sure how, just reach out to us and let us know. But we're really excited for that. In addition to that, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, just a reminder that we're having a dedication ceremony for Mayor Frazier before our next meeting. So 5:30 at the gazebo on July 7th. And we will be honoring her dedication to the building of that gazebo with a plaque. So there will be a short ceremony. Anyone from the public's invited, anyone especially who knew and honored the mayor, please feel free to make it. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Christ?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. One item, Council will recall that one of the cases against the City of Berkeley is a challenge to a denial of a use variance regarding the property at 2114 West 11 Mile Road. Oakland Circuit Court judge upheld the zoning board's denial of that use variance. They appealed it to the Michigan Court of Appeals. Last week, the Court of Appeals notified the parties that the plaintiff challenger has not perfected its appeal. It's now on a very short window where the briefing has to happen, or the party was subject to involuntary dismissal of its appeal. So I will keep council apprised of any developments in the case, but that's where it stands right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Councilmember Hennon and I attended, along with about 20 other city employees, attended the Active Assailant Conference last week. And we had the opportunity to learn and hear from law enforcement and other experts in the field, as well as the mayor and city manager from Highland Park, Illinois, where an active shooter opened fire on their 4th of July parade a few years ago. It was a difficult conference in some ways, but it's necessary. Being prepared is something that you can do, being proactive, knowing what the roles and responsibilities are. And then just hearing from, Sarah Peck from United on Guns and the DART program through the Sheriff's Office, they, everything that's been learned from these has now been put into documents so that I and other elected officials will know what to do in the event of. So it's great information to have, and I sincerely hope we never have to use it. I had 2 stops on the Mayor's Roadshow last week. I was at Amici's Kitchen and Living Room on Thursday and the Chop Shop on Saturday morning. And I'm going to tell you, if you ever wonder if you're living in the best city, just hang out and just start talking to people. There was so much love for Berkley in both of those places, even from people that don't live here. And actually, I got a couple comments like, oh, I don't live in Berkley, but I would love to live here. Every single person that I spoke with could not say enough good about our city. Residents did have questions, and they were thoughtful questions, and I answered them to the best of my ability. So those were 2 great feel-good events that I was just involved in, and then we segued into the Art Bash. After Chop Shop, I went to the Art Bash, and again, the weather was perfect. It seemed like there was a bigger footprint this year, way more vendors. And I just want to acknowledge the work of Public Safety and DPW for those events, along with all the volunteers and the chamber. It takes so many people to make these events happen. And not only do they happen in Berkley, but I think we set the bar. These have been really great events, and it brings people to the city. I had my first experience with the Berkley outdoor social scene. Yes, I was day drinking on Saturday afternoon. My friend and I had lunch at Monger's outside, and we split a glass of wine, so yeah, it was a big deal. But what I loved was I experienced it in action, right? You got your cup, you knew where you could walk around. So it was good, and I think people are utilizing it, and that's really what you want at the end of the day. Mayor Pro Tem Gavin is under the weather, so I have his Parks and Rec update this evening that the first concert in the park is at Oxford Park on June 26th at 7 p.m., and the featured entertainment will be Sonic Freeway. So make sure you mark your calendars, set a reminder. You don't want to miss it. I did want to point out that we received $1,049,000 of HUD reimbursement for the whole HVAC system that was put in. I think it's really important to note that the city has received between both state and federal $1.8 million to do these improvements, and we are very grateful for those dollars, and they've been put to much needed and good use. And public safety, I would like to extend a warm welcome to dispatcher Andy Bakowitz. Andy, I'm calling him Andy like I know him, but we haven't met yet, but we will. He brings a wealth of experience, having served along a dedicated career as a firefighter after joining the U.S. Air Force in 1996. He is also a Berkley resident. And I just know that it takes a special person to do dispatch. You have to be calm. You have to have that quality of equanimity, like grace under pressure. And not everybody has that. So, Andy, I look forward to meeting you and seeing that equanimity emanate from you. And lastly, I will be attending, in my role as on the Board of Trustees for the Michigan Municipal League Workers' Comp Fund, our strategic planning and quarterly meeting this week. I leave on Wednesday, I'll be back on Friday. So I'll be bringing back more information, and it's just a great opportunity. Actually, Councilmember Hennon will be there as well. He's on the Board of Trustees for MML. So it's all of the trustees are coming together and having our quarterly meetings, but also strategic planning. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Villani. Ms. Mitchell, will you please call the roll?
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Villani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes. The Monday, June 16th, 2025 meeting of the Berkley City Council is adjourned.